Hello comic book people of the world, my favorite mutant of all time, who happens to also be one of the most famous gay superheroes in a mainstream comic book, Bobby Drake, also known as Iceman, is getting a new comic book series. It may only be about a 5-issue limited run, but you know what, I will take it. Let's talk about the first issue. This was written by Sina Grace and it was illustrated by Nathan Stockman. In case you didn't read the title of this video, major spoilers ahead, you've been warned. Before I continue on, I recently went to a convention called Dragon Con where I dressed up as Iceman, or at least I dressed up as the iced up version of Iceman, where I was running around in my underwear and an X belt, and I had a North Star where we took some lovey-dovey pictures that I'm going to be posting up on my Patreon site very soon. I thought they came out incredibly awesome and I can't wait to show them. If you're not aware of this, adult Bobby Drake came out a couple years ago when his younger counterpart, who was time displaced from the past and put into today's time, who also came out as being gay, somewhat outed him. Let's not focus on the whole timey-wiminess of the whole X-Men timeline. Let's just focus on the fact that Bobby Drake is a senior member of the X-Men. He is one of the original 5 members, and he has leadership capabilities. He's already done semi-leadership stuff here and there in the past, which is referenced in this first issue. In fact, this starts out with him training one of the new classes. He reports to Kitty that he found a flyer for a missing Morlock, to which she says that he needs a team to go down to investigate this. But he doesn't get a full team, he just gets Bishop. I love the character of Bishop, and I think this panel of him just sitting there peeling an apple speaks volumes for his character. Him and Iceman have worked together in the past, but this time it's more like a good cop, bad cop thing, being it's just the two of them. When they do go into the sewers to investigate, they come across other Morlocks that are fighting a new group of marauders. Turns out the marauders are attempting to do a second mutant massacre. The first mutant massacre took place years ago under the orders of Mr. Sinister. I'll probably do a second video more based on that story alone because it was incredibly well done, and it's one of those stories that is legendary in the X-Men universe. The Morlock character of Madden is brought into this, and we find out that she's actually looking for her missing brother. Iceman's able to convince Madden to unite the other Morlocks, being that they do outnumber the Marauders. So they are able to fight them back, and we get to see Iceman be a total badass in this issue. We already know that he's an Omega level mutant, but he uses his abilities to a much further extent. He creates an army of golems, and these golems he can control all on his own. Although every time I see one of his golems, I always think of Elsa from Frozen when she created her own golem. We come to find out that these Marauders were also under the guidance of Mr. Sinister yet again. It feels as though this could be a subplot that could be explored later. At least I really hope so. Sinister never has really had too much of an interest in Bobby Drake, despite his status of being such a powerful mutant. This would be something that I would love to see in a future story. Surprisingly though, this was not the big reveal at the end of this issue. Turns out that Emma Frost is just waiting for Bobby Drake as they get back from the mission. Bobby and the White Queen had an odd relationship in the past, and this is something that's going to be looked into in issue number 2. What did I think about this issue? Oh my god, this was great. I feel like this was even better than the previous series that Iceman had. Sina Grace is most definitely going into a much more action-adventure storyline, but still addressing Bobby Drake as Bobby Drake has always been. He says dad jokes from the beginning all the way to the end of this. We even have an instance where Jubilee has a dad joke jar where she puts money in it every time that Bobby does a dad joke. And I'm ecstatic for the fact that Bobby is also still exploring his background and relating it to his future as being a gay superhero. And being that he is newly on the market, being that he just broke up with his boyfriend, and he's still trying to date, and I'm glad that that's also a part of the story. Nathan Stockman's artwork is on par, and I'm really happy with the whole positive vibe that he's putting onto it. Also, I'm jumping for joy that Stockman is drawing Bobby Drake in his non-ice form in this costume. This is my favorite costume that Iceman has worn. I hated that red jumper thing that he was wearing in the previous Iceman series, so I'm glad that he's gone back to basics. But this is a great first issue. It opens it up for an intriguing plot, and it also has some dangling plots that haven't been answered yet in the future that's going to be done. It's very adventurous, and it looks like it's going to be a fun series, so you know I'm going to be completely on board with it. Let me go ahead and end my rambling at this point. If you're interested in reading it, it is a Marvel comic, so that means it's available at just about any comic book store anywhere, or if you're interested in downloading a digital copy, you want to go to Comixology.com, or you can go to Marvel.com and you can download it directly from them. With that, let me end this video. Thank you guys for watching me up to this point. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, hit that like button. Also put on the notification bell so you know when I put up future videos. Check out my Patreon site when you get a chance. Check out my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. know the North Star is married, but we need to have a future issue where he sits down with Bobby Drake and they discuss everything that's happened in the past, including North Star flirting with Bobby and probably knowing that Bobby was gay before Bobby acknowledged it himself. It just seems like that needs to happen, at least in this series, sometime down the line.